It's a ripple effect.
Everybody's here.
Well said. Okay, let's begin this meeting. Get my, okay, we'll make this a call to order.
Here.
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 Okay. I guess I'll start off real quickly and hit citizens' time. No one's out there, of course. And minute approval. You guys look that over. But while you're looking that over, I'm going to bump Holly up so that she doesn't have to spend any time with us discussing the sheets. So she'll be after we approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes to the Architecture Review Board regular meeting February 20th, 2013.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on it? Anybody find any errors?
Just in the, well, not an error, but the way it was worded on paragraph 6, Planning Commission update, that the ARB is, concerned with the historic overlay. It says, but worried about the gateways to the town that they will be able to do what they want. So, maybe it was
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
I missed the word, like, I meant to say like for businesses.
Right, so could we,
I can amend it, so you can do that for the second.
great.
Okay, so what we're going to approve that as? Or what we're going to change that to?
Accept it as amended and I'll fix that paragraph. So it's supposed to say like ARB is worried about the gateways to the town, but the businesses must be.
The businesses, okay. I just wanted to clarify that the day was for business. Okay,
Motion to approve minutes with
with
said
amendment?
amendment.
Okay. Ralph,
That's fine, yeah.
you second that? Okay. You agree to that? Okay, any other discussions on it? Then I'll put it up for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No nays?
And I'll abstain because I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay, we got an abstention. Okay, Holly.
I've had some further communications with VDOT, and I wanted to clarify some of the issues that I brought to your attention at the last meeting. Regarding the pedestrian fences along the Old Carolina Bridge, what they are proposing for the sides is the wire mesh that's shown on the left instead of the chain link. The photo on the right was provided not for the cross bracing, but to show you what the top looks like that they want to propose.
Okay.
So what they're proposing will not have the cross bracing, which was an issue that some ARB members had expressed concerns about at the last meeting. So if you can envision the sides like the one on the left and the top like the one on the right is what they're proposing. In addition, you had some questions about what did they mean by a base color and then additional staining on the facade treatments. And the next page is a picture. Now keep in mind this is not the colors that they're proposing, nor is it the bridge that they're proposing. But it's the concept of where you have a basically like a gray stone face where they've hand painted or sponged on additional colors to make it look more like natural stone. And this type of treatment is what they're proposing for the bridges only, not the sound walls, because it would be so cost prohibitive because it's a hand treatment. So they're only proposing it on the bridge. And they're also proposing it on the Route 15 bridge as well. They're still evaluating the request about the paint, the dark green paint, to find out if they're available and if there would be chipping issues or whatnot. The next thing I wanted to touch base with is when I was at one of these meetings with VDOT, I had your sign proposal because we were talking about the Route 15 bridge, and I just happened to be sitting next to a representative from Journey Through Hollowed Ground. And she just wants to make sure you guys are aware that they are planning improvements along 15 from Monticello, I think to Gettysburg. And included in that are concepts for gateway signs, directional signs. I've included samples that they had of the type of signs that they're proposing. And what she expressed interest in is coming to talk to you guys directly, to talk about how possibly the town of Haymarket could incorporate that branding for the signs that you're proposing at some of the gateways. That's all I'm trying to do, is make you aware of Journey Through Hollow Ground, and then to facilitate getting her in here to speak with you. So, that was the updates I wanted to give you. Right now, she's had scheduling conflicts, both for tonight and next month. But I am working with her to see when she can come in and speak to you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
I have 2 questions for
Sure.
you. You were kind of talking in here on how you would have a base color for the walls and then a sponge kind of paint. That's not really a paint, right? This is a dye color that's going to soak
It's a stain.
in?
It's a stain.
Okay, because I don't want something that's going to end up fading away. I'd like something that's part of the concrete, like, you know how they put the dye in the concrete? Or, you know, somehow you can hit it while it's not cured and it'll soak in and stay in, as opposed to, you know, just be a surface treatment? Do you know?
I'm not sure if that type of treatment is available for these foreign blind areas.
Right, but do you know if that's the kind of
You know,
concept
there was
they have here, or-
specific mention that it's a hand-painted / sponged type treatment. So it's not something that is integral with the wall. It's something that's applied on the wall after the initial form. The initial form would be created in the gray.
Right.
And then they would come back and hand paint or sponge on these stains.
Because, yeah, my only concern with something that might be just a surface treatment is getting them to come back and maintain it when it starts to just, you know, fade away or just weather.
Okay.
That would be my only concern. But you know what I'm talking about with, they got that powdered dye or whatever when they just kind of spray it on the concrete before it cures. And it just kind of like soaks in and becomes an integral part of the
Of the treatment?
of the initial first layer of it. So it is part of it. It's not a surface treatment, but it's actually, you know, on whatever they call that, liming or whatever they call, you know.
So
when
it's
that-
like a powder coat?
Yeah.
spray. I can inquire if that's the type of what they're proposing.
Well, that's my only concern. You could just raise that to them that that's a concern and make sure it's clarified if it won't happen or something
Okay.
like that.
Well, you can also ask just what their estimates of the longevity of the color treatment
what
is.
is
If
it?
they say, yeah, it's going to last 100 years, and
Nothing
you can
less
believe
than
that, I know.
Bridges, I think, are
If
only
you
even
can believe
designed for
that-
50 years.
Well, exactly. Well, if it's supposed to last for the lifetime of the bridge, then it's...
Or what is
Then
the
it's
life,
good,
what
yeah.
is the lifespan of the color stain applied?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you know what the lifespan of the bridge is, oh, by the way?
Normally, bridges are about 50 years, to be honest. I don't know what this specific one is. I have not researched that, but in general, bridges tend to be about 50 years.
Okay.
It's considered the lifespan of a bridge.
Unless there's some type of development like how Haymarket's expanded, right? Those bridges out there are not even 40 years old yet, are they?
No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily, the design year for these, when you talk about capacity and how much traffic it will hold, is 2036. But in terms of how long bridges last longer than the capacity they're designed to. When I say design life, it's when they consider it failing or needing major rehab. Not just maintenance, but major rehab.
Okay, and my other question is, you know, they're showing these signs and they're also showing decorative poles. Do you know if they have a standard that they want these signs to be on when it comes to the poles, or?
Are you talking about the Journey Through Hollow Ground?
Yes.
To be honest with you, I don't think that they have 100% developed it, because they even said on this sample, VDOT has told them they can't have 4 directionals on there, they can only have 3. So that's one of the reasons why I would like for them to come talk to you directly.
Okay, because the reason I ask is I'm right now in the process of coming up with some type of rough order of magnitude of costs. And I've scheduled a meeting this Friday with a sign maker.
Okay.
And I need to ask him questions on the sense of, do you include poles? If you do, what kind of options do we have? You know, so I'll probably use this as a reference to say, hey, this is the kind of thing we might be looking at.
Okay.
You know, you could throw some type of costing if you know it.
I do believe that the representative from Journey Through Hollow Ground said that they have some preliminary cost estimates, and I can inquire to her if she could forward that information along.
Okay.
I wasn't recommending to you that you adopt these signs. I'm more just wanting to make you more aware of them and to facilitate the discussion with Journey Through Hollow Ground.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind working with these signs. I mean, this is a nice look, and it integrates into the Journey to Hollow. But like I said, I still want to try and put some type of a Haymarket flair into it, since I want to show a brand. I want to try and incorporate a brand.
And that's exactly what I had expressed to her too. And since she's the one that working so closely, obviously she's the representative for the Journey Through Hollow Ground, I didn't want to get the messages mixed up, and why I wanted her to come talk to you directly to see what their thoughts were, to see if it meshed with yours. To be honest with you, I didn't promise her anything. I just said I'll take it and make sure the ARB knows. And the same thing, I don't want to commit them either. So.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she's looking for consistency, and she's looking for a branding too. I mean, you know, so we both have our own agendas.
Absolutely. And I pointed out, because on your sign examples, you had used the museum on everything, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to want the museum on there. And that's when I was like, I need to get you two together, rather than speaking on behalf of others.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great if you could coordinate something. You know, I would like this to move a little bit faster than what it's moving already, but, you know, when you're looking at, you know, non-full-time people trying to do this on their off time, and it does move a little slower than expected. So I'm sure 2 months from now would still be an appropriate time frame for me to get stuff, because, you know, once I get a rough order, it's got to go through council for them to even put it on the capital improvements budget.
I see.
And then from there, we start to go full-blown into coming up with designs and everything else.
Yeah, we're actually going through the CIP now, the planning commission. So that's, I forget when we're supposed to have it done by, but that's in process.
So as soon as I can get her in to speak to you, and actually she would like me to pass on her contact information to you too. Since
Yeah, Marshawn said that.
Okay. Want to make sure you got it.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to make you aware more than anything right now, not commit either side to anything.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Yep.
Or?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
My agenda out here. Here it is. All set? Mark that tape. Okay. Next agenda item, moving on to town council update. Oh, yeah, I guess we'll move into
You
sheets
can wait, you can
discussion.
wait long.
Yeah. Where am
Might
I
as
going?
well,
It's on the
since,
clock, right?
Leaving the crowd. What I was hoping to do was address the notes that Sherry sent me after last meeting. And one of them was building and colors, and specifically the color of the umbrellas. So we just, on the render, we just had to make it a darker green. But like I mentioned, I picked up your colors and got a sample from Sherwin-Williams. But the powder coating, they have their own colors. They don't follow Sherwin-Williams colors. So what's the best way to attack this is to find a green that works and try to match it up with one of these greens, because these are the only options that the powder coating company has. So kind of asking what the best course of action would be for that.
Well, you know, we try to be flexible by saying or equivalent, you know, something that's very close to the palette. I'm sure we can find something that's probably close to the color palettes that we have. And, you know, when we do go through with the COA, we'll just mark it in there, making sure that it, you use whatever what's agreed upon for
Okay.
the color.
So do I leave the book with you and then you determine what color it is, or you do that tonight, or how would that be?
Well, we can it's kind of an open forum right now, so we can pretty much sit down and pinpoint colors if you have a few options that
Okay.
you've investigated and say, these are what we would prefer. And
Well,
then,
I asked, our VP construction, I said, what do you think? He said, well, why not green? So these are all your greens. And then there are some in here that are pretty, the darker green, so.
Well, what's the precedent with this green here that's on this?
That is, I think that's for diesel signs.
Right.
That's diesel pricing. So
Is that a standard color for the diesel?
I don't think we made it up. I think everybody uses a green to indicate that they have auto diesel.
Well, I would just think that if you have this particular shade of green, which I would think might come pretty close to something that we would have, could you use that green throughout it?
Good question. I'm not sure. I don't think we choose that color, so I don't have a sample of that.
You say you didn't choose it, but you just said you made it up.
No, we don't make it. I mean, I don't know if we make it up or if it's just some
Industry
industry
thing.
green that
Okay.
people are looking for auto diesel. That I don't know that answer.
Matches your coffee.
Well,
No.
it looks pretty close, anyways.
That's a great. I don't know if we pick this, if everybody uses the same color, or it'll go Shell, Exxon. I don't know that. Don't know that one.
I think they might use green, but not necessarily the exact shade.
Right.
But if this is your shade, and if we have something, if it's an acceptable shade, I would say, hey, let's just match that one. And that